All right, everybody. Welcome to English 101. As you may have noticed, this is a hybrid course, meaning that there are going to be some aspects of the course that are delivered in person, and then some that are going to be delivered asynchronously and online. Um, I'm going to walk you through kind of some of the basic introductory materials in this video, like go over some of the syllabus points and also show you how to access those online materials that you're going to need for those hybrid sessions. It feels a little weird to be doing an introduction several months in the past and also online, but I'm really looking forward to meet all of you tomorrow. So we'll go ahead and jump right into it. So I'm Haley. Haley Kinsler. You can refer to me as Professor Kinsler. Um, that's fine with me. I do prefer to go by my last name. You can use he, they, or she pronouns with me, so you can't really go wrong. And some other things about me. I'm originally from Glen Burnie, Maryland. That's where I spent like the first kind of early part of my life. But I've been living in Wake County for 14 years now. So North Carolina really has become home to me. I am a PhD student here. I'll be coming to my second year in the program in communication, rhetoric, and digital media. So I'm housed under both the departments of communication and English, which is kind of a unique situation for a PhD student. So if you're somebody who's interested in those fields, or generally do know that I'm always happy to talk about it. I got my bachelor's also at NC State in rhetoric and professional writing. And then I got my master's again also at NC State in the linguistics program. So I have several years of experience teaching English 101 and just training on all things kind of language and writing related, whether it has to do with multimodal communication, language variation, rhetoric, and so on and so forth. So this is a class that I genuinely love teaching because I love language and I just, there's so much that I could go into there. Um, Other things that I enjoy, I love makeup and makeup artistry. I play video games with my partner, so that like screenshot that is there is from right before we played the final boss in Elden Ring. I also am very outdoorsy. I like to take pictures and ride my bike around the city. So those are a little bit of things about me. You know, my philosophy is that it's really important to have things that you're doing outside of academia. So this is kind of some of the ways that I like to spend my time in that way. So now would be your time for introductions. So normally if you see this little arrow, means that I want you to go ahead and click on that link. So you can open this Google Slides kind of presentation and you can add your own slide. And I want you to add things about yourself, like what major you're in, or if you're uncertain, maybe you could talk a little bit about some of the things that you're exploring right now, maybe some classes you're excited about, your hobbies, your interests, something unique that you're bringing to the course. You can leave your name and how to pronounce it. It's also very helpful for me. And you can add your pronouns if you like, but certainly not required. So that is there for you. All of that's going to be accessible via the Moodle page, and I'm going to walk us in a little bit through how to access that. But first, I want to talk a little bit about like what kinds of things do people normally hope to get out of English 101? Of course, generally speaking, you want credit for the class. You want to pass it because it is, I understand, required for pretty much like it's required for anybody who doesn't already have the prerequisite to take this class. So I totally understand that for a lot of people, English 101 is a bit of a nightmare. Maybe you don't like writing, maybe you haven't done it a lot in the past. And my hope is maybe to kind of change your perspective a little bit by the end of the semester. So I know that you're hoping to get credit for the class, but maybe you're also thinking about, well, what would it mean for me in various aspects of my life and my professional development later down the line if I work on developing my writing skills? So if you're thinking about graduate school, for example, as somebody who has been through that process, I can tell you there is a lot of writing in terms of like personal statements, applying for graduate school research papers. Other things that you might be thinking about are, you know, how do you even find sources and use them in your writing, whether you are planning to move into the industry or just try to make it through the rest of your undergraduate career, those are going to be skills that are essential no matter what field or program or major that you're in. Maybe learning more about like how to format writing, respond to various kinds of like writing situations that you might find yourself in. And hopefully, if this is your first semester or your first year at state, or maybe you're in the first few years of undergrad, one of the very special things about English 101 is that we only have 20 students. It is a very small class. And so this is a really good opportunity to get to meet other people who maybe aren't in the same program as you, and to develop those connections and network with other people. I can tell you, somebody who is both in the departments of English and communication, there are sometimes opportunities that come my way that I wouldn't have known to look for unless I was, talking to a variety of people who are in a variety of programs and studying a lot of different topics. So that's also maybe something that you're hoping to get out of this course. And yeah, like that's kind of what I'm hoping to prepare you for as well. So the overall structure of the class, there are 4 major assignments that you are completing over the course of this semester. As you can imagine, English 101 involves a lot of writing. Very often people think, oh, we're going to be like reading books and responding to them. That would be a literature course. We are going to be focusing instead on kind of like the research process. How do you kind of navigate the expectations that you're being given in any kind of writing situation, whether you're being asked to write your resume or to write a cover letter or to work on a research paper, or like a lab report. My job is basically to kind of give you a sense, not of how to write for every kind of situation, but instead to understand the writing process so that when you do find yourself kind of doing something for the first time, you have more of a sense of like, okay, well, here's the roadmap for how I navigate that process. So there's going to be 4 major assignments, and the way that the program is set, you have to write 25 pages over the course of the semester. So the first assignment is going to be very, very short. It's kind of going to be like a bit of a speed run of the writing process. So you're just writing a 2-page annotated bibliography. If you've seen the genre before or have written an annotated bibliography in the past, it's very structured. It will be kind of your introduction to citation format. So we'll be working with MLA for that assignment. And you're going to be reading and summarizing and responding to just articles that talk about the writing process. The second assignment is going to be what is called a comparative rhetorical analysis. And it's okay if you don't know exactly what that means yet. I'll be walking us through it. But basically, you're going to look at a scientific report that has been written by like researchers, professional scientists, and then you're going to look at a news article that is written about that same research that was conducted, and you're going to compare the way that scientists write about their studies as opposed to the way that like a reporter writes about it. So it feels a little bit more intuitive when you start thinking about it, but that will be a 4-page essay. And then you're going to write, in addition to that, a 3-page reflection, which is a lot more informal, where you're just kind of walking me through, what was it like working through the writing process. The next assignment is going to be an interpretive analysis of a film. So this will be a group essay, meaning that you're going to get paired into small groups, and all of you are going to agree on a film to analyze and interpret, and you're going to write a 6-page paper all together. And then individually, you'll write another 2-page reflection on kind of what that process was like. And then the last assignment is going to be what is called a discourse analysis research paper. For my master's program, like my capstone, which is like the thesis, was a discourse analysis. I'll be kind of walking you through a very introductory level to discourse analysis, which just basically means how do you analyze discourse or language or communication. You're going to write up a research paper. And then you will create a kind of virtual research poster that is presenting your work, and that will fulfill the 2 pages of the requirement for the class. So you're going to be writing in lots of different disciplines. That second assignment is kind of working within the natural and applied sciences. assignment 3 is within the humanities, and assignment 4 is in the social sciences. So as we're working through these different assignments over the course of several weeks for each one during the semester, we'll be talking about like, what are these disciplines like? What are their kind of academic norms? How do you kind of tailor your writing to that specific discipline? Because there are a lot of differences between somebody who is writing, for example, like a physics research paper as opposed to somebody who's writing like a literary analysis. So the last thing is the boring stuff. I sincerely apologize, but there are some logistics to cover. And my hope here is that although it's boring up front, once we take the time to get through it, I do actually think this will make the semester a lot smoother, because I am kind of on the front end really setting up the infrastructure for us to use tools that I think are going to make it a lot easier to find kind of class resources and things as you need them. So let me go ahead and pull this up. So we'll go ahead and start with the course Moodle page. So this is what it's going to look like for you as a student who's accessing the Moodle page. Just so you know, this is a work in progress. It is currently June when I'm filming this. So I'm doing a lot of preparatory work to really make sure that we can spend a lot of time kind of getting into the nitty-gritty, especially during our in-person sessions. I'm working on putting together a lot of resources for y'all. So this isn't entirely done yet, but a lot of the kind of basic infrastructure is there. And so I want to show you a little bit of what it's going to look like. So it's going to be set up week by week. And right now you can see that only 2 weeks are here. But like for accessing today's materials, for example, what you're going to do is you're going to go to week 1, and I have it ordered day by day. So our Monday and Thursday classes are asynchronous, and then our Tuesday and Friday classes are in person. And so I have the date, what type of class delivery it's going to be, just to make sure that we're all kind of on the same page about like when and where we need to be accessing class material. So today is for y'all Monday, August the 18th. And so you're going to be clicking on the asynchronous class resources here. This is where you access this intro video. If you click here, you're going to be able to access the slides for today. And then this will have your assignment that you need to complete today. I will have like messages for you to kind of give you a sense of like, okay, this is what you need to do for the day. I'm going to be filming some additional like tutorials in case you need deep dives on any of the other technological tools that we're going to be working with. But this is going to be kind of the regular structure. So let's say you're getting ready for Tuesday. You're going to come in, and every time we have an in-person class session, you're going to want to go ahead and pull up the slides at the beginning, have the Moodle page up for that day. Make sure you've got all of your materials with you. Okay, so that is our Moodle page. That's how you navigate it. At the top of it, there is like a page with all of our course resources. This is what it looks like. And so I'm still kind of like working on adding everything here, but that top section will have some of like the most important information that you need. So one of the things that is linked here is actually our syllabus. And in terms of our policies, I do encourage you to kind of like read through the whole things. I'll go through some of the like really important stuff. But for the most part, this is like basically the contract for the class. You know, we are ahead of that kind of period where you can add or drop a course without instructor permission. So this is the time to review this, to get a sense of like, does this class seem like a good fit for me? Is this the section of English 101 that I want to be in? So make sure that you read this, because after that point, you are kind of like locked into this contract. So make sure that you look at it carefully, right? You got to read the fine print. It's meant to be pretty easy to navigate. Unfortunately, it is very long, as contracts often are. But I do have it at the top that you can like click different sections in the table of contents, and it brings you down to that portion of the syllabus very quickly. It has all of my information again about the meeting times. So when we're meeting in person and where, and then when we are meeting asynchronously. In terms of required materials, all of the readings are free and are going to be available to you in a variety of places. The only thing that is definitely required is that this is what's called a bring your own technology class. So you will need a laptop or like a tablet or something that you can work with. Like a cell phone won't work for this. You do need some kind of material for sure that you can like write on Google Docs and things like that, because we'll be doing that a lot over the course of the semester. Now, with that said, if that is a concern for you, if you don't have a laptop, if you're worried about like that being a cost barrier, email me. Absolutely, like it is not an issue. We have some laptops that are available through the library. And I also tend to have like a backup or two as needed. So like, please reach out to me if you're having any issues sourcing a laptop. I have no problem working with you to make sure that you have what you need to be able to participate in the class. I don't want that to be a barrier for anyone. There's stuff here about the prerequisites, a general kind of description of the course. A lot of this stuff is based on the first year writing programs kind of guidelines. And so we are very strictly bound to those. That affects things like our attendance, as you'll see. But I definitely want to highlight that these are the English 101 student learning objectives. These are really kind of my goals for you. These are the things that you're going to be working on over the course of the semester. So you'll be learning how to find print and electronic source materials, meaning like scholarly essays, academic book chapters, things like that. You're going to learn about the differences between different academic disciplines, the basic principles of rhetoric, and so on and so forth. And then there's information here just about the course assignments and grading. I've already kind of walked you through the 4 major projects. In order to pass the class, you do have to submit every major assignment. So projects 1, 2, 3, and 4, you have to submit that in order to receive a passing grade in the course. We also have homework and the classwork assignments. Those are very low stakes. It's going to be assigned regularly. So you're going to want to look at Moodle and our course calendar for those things. That's 20% of your grade in the course. And that is graded on completion, meaning I'm going to look to see, did you do what I asked you to do? Great. That's going to be a 100. If you do not complete part of the assignment, then that's going to be partial credit. And if you don't submit it at all, or just don't follow the directions whatsoever, that would be no credit. So I do a full credit, partial credit, no credit scale for those low stakes assignments. In terms of the overall grading scale, I follow the same grading scale that the university does. So when you receive your grades back for major projects, you will be receiving it as a letter grade. And if you have any questions on that, you can let me know. One thing I will say is that Moodle is not going to calculate your grades correctly. I've just heard too many horror stories of people's grade books getting reset accidentally, it not being programmed correctly, and folks having to like go back and it's just a nightmare. I do all that stuff independently. I have a spreadsheet where I keep track of your grades on my end, so I can give you the most accurate kind of look at your grade at any point during the semester. So if you have a question about it, email me so we can schedule a time to meet, stop by for office hours, but please understand that Moodle is not where you're going to find your grade. This is kind of like a sense of the general criteria. And then I do have a late submission policy. So because those low stakes like homework assignments are based on completion, I'm only going to give you partial credit for the late work. In order to get that partial credit, there are 2 things that you have to do, and I won't accept it otherwise. It must be submitted within 48 hours of that initial deadline, and you need to send me an email so that I know to look for it. Otherwise, I won't see it. I won't grade it. I have a reminder I'll set for myself, and it will receive no credit. Like I'm not going to be evaluating it. In terms of major projects, those due dates are established at the beginning of the course. And since we're working on them for weeks at a time, I will not generally be receiving like late work for that. So I do have a policy that they can be penalized 5 points for each day that they're late. So that's half a letter grade. With that said, of course, like I am also a student and also a person, and I do know that things come up. So don't take this as a sign to not reach out to me if you have something going on. I always am going to be on the side of communicate with me. If something is going on, and you have a concern about your grade in the class or keeping up with assignments, meet with me much earlier rather than later. Don't let things blow up before you let me know about it. The other thing about grades is that I have a policy because writing is like one of these things where like we put a lot of investment into it. So I just want to let you know when it comes to grades, after you receive that grade back, you need to wait 24 hours before you email me. And after that point, you can email me to let me know if you have any questions about the grade. But I want those questions to be kind of like feedback focused. So if there's feedback that you're receiving from me on a major project that you're not really sure about, you didn't understand, or you're wondering like, how do I transfer kind of what I've learned from the grade and feedback on this assignment forward, that's something I'm more than happy to talk with you about. But that needs to be within a week of receiving that grade. So you can't come back at the end of the semester and be like, actually, I want to talk about my grade for project one. Nope, that's you're gonna want to do that like when you get that grade back. So between that 24 hours after up to a week, you can reach out to me. I don't round up grades at the end of the semester and things like that. Just to kind of ensure consistency for everybody. Extra credit. I do have an extra credit opportunity, and I cannot recommend this enough. Every semester, I'm always surprised by how little how little a number of students that I have do this, but I'm telling you, believe me, you want to do this. You want to take the extra credit opportunity. I promise. For a couple of reasons. So, what is the extra credit opportunity? Basically, you can receive extra credit by visiting the Undergraduate Writing Center a total of 2 times throughout the semester. I do link you to their website, and they have a video that tells you about what the center is. It kind of sets some expectations about like what is the center, and like what do the consultants do, and then the appointment policies and all that good stuff. So you can like book an appointment. There is lots of like kind of information here, and just like look at the Academic Success Center more generally. This is a free resource to you on campus, and these folks do incredible work. So you can get the extra credit by going to the center 2 times throughout the semester. And you can go at any point during the course of one of our major projects. So let's say you need help brainstorming an idea for a paper. You can use an appointment to work through that process. Let's say you need just another set of eyes right before you're getting ready to turn that paper in later that week. You can get some additional feedback and help with revision. If you're stuck during the writing process and you have writer's block, I especially encourage in a moment like that to, set an appointment, force yourself to go to it, and it's helpful to have that kind of peer accountability. If you go twice during the semester, you can receive up to 5, or you'll receive 5 points on your lowest graded major project in the course. That's half a letter grade on your lowest major project. That's a really substantial boost. And I've had plenty of students where that made the difference between them getting like a B+ and an A- or an A- and an A. And the other thing too is that generally speaking, students who make use of the Undergraduate Writing Center get higher grades overall. So this is just a really, really good way to kind of invest in your success this semester. It is just 2 appointments. You just got to go to them for the full 30 or 60 minutes, right? It won't take more than 2 hours of your time, and it will have a pretty good effect on your grade, and also just like the quality of your writing and the practice that you'll get. So I really recommend this. They can send me an email to let me know that you went to the appointment, and then just check in with me to make sure that I got that, because I do keep track of it. Attendance policy. This is a big one. The way this is set by the first year writing program, meaning that it is not negotiable, and it does not distinguish between excused and unexcused absences. I'm going to highlight this, meaning you don't have to email me to tell me why you are absent. I don't need a reason. If you're like, you know what, I don't have that many absences, I need a day off, or I'm going to work on this essay at home, that's fine. You don't have to come, right? You don't got to come to class that day. That is quite all right. I'm not going to be offended by it. If you just email me and let me know I won't be in class today, that's fine. There's no difference between excused and unexcused absences whatsoever. So do keep that in mind. You don't need to justify it. I totally understand. Critically, we meet 4 times a week, right? Virtually and in person. You can have up to 8 absences, but not a 9th absence. That will result in a failing grade for the class. I keep track of your absences on my end. If you ever have questions about how many you have, you can let me know. But yeah, more than 2 weeks of class, if you miss it, you won't be able to fulfill the GEP requirement, and yeah, you will receive a failing grade. In this case, because we are a hybrid course, this does include the virtual sessions, meaning that if you are not engaging with the virtual material, if you are not completing activities and assignments, then that will count as an absence. So you need to make sure that even though our hybrid sessions are asynchronous and are virtual, right? That doesn't mean that you can't participate in them. So make sure that you're staying on top of that, because those will count as absences for the class. In terms of professional conduct, this is all the normal stuff. My main thing is please don't be like working on other assignments during class. If I'm asking us to work on an activity, give it your full attention, not just for the sake of your learning, but also to just show respect for your peers. There are going to be a lot of folks who are really putting a lot of work and effort and attention to their writing. And that's something that we want to respect for each other, right? So there will be moments during the semester where I'm like, all right, we're switching to pen and paper, or I'm going to ask that people put their phones down and things like that. So please don't have those things out in class. If you have your tech materials out, they should specifically be being used for engaging with course material. That's really the main thing. For emails, I've got like the normal thing. Please send me, somewhat professional emails. I've got a little link here if you want to see some like examples of just like the general kind of structure of an email. And this is here not just for me as an instructor, but for like all of your instructors. Like I can tell you across the board, this is just kind of the standard way to interact with your professors professionally. The only other thing for me, I have a work-life balance, so you can expect that you'll get an email within a couple of days. I'm not somebody who is going to panic if I receive an email. I'm telling you that right now. So make sure that you're emailing me in advance of things. Like if you want to meet about an assignment or what have you, email me in advance. And make sure that you are really having a sense of what it is that you want to email me for. The vast majority of the time, my expectation would be that you are emailing me because you want to meet to talk about something. I am not wanting a million emails about like, how many times can I be absent in the class? Do I actually have to follow this course policy? The answer will be yes. Yes, you do. So refer to the syllabus. If I'm getting a bunch of emails for things that you can find in the syllabus, I'm not going to respond to them. Just for my own sanity. I love teaching, but I do not love responding to emails. So just make sure that if you're emailing me, like It can be a question about like an assignment, something that you're thinking about, a potential topic. If you want to meet with me, those are the types of things that you want to email me about. Please don't email me about policies. That will drive me nuts. I also will be working with you in class to like kind of set up some like collaborative messaging spaces with your peers. That is a great space for checking in with people. If you just need like help being like, okay, I have not been able to find or access this thing, that's a great time to ask a peer. Okay. So that's there. AI. Ooh, let me tell y'all my thing about AI. Don't do it. I feel like this is not serious enough. Listen, I will know. I will know if you use AI. I'm not lying to you. I'm not joking with you. I'm not playing with you. I promise you, I will know. I know I really am scaring people. This is a project for a chatbot that I am developing, an AI chatbot. I work with large language models like behind the scenes, right? So I'm being very for real. Okay? Do not, do not, do not use AI writing for your assignments. I will know. Don't do it. Okay. I'm happy to talk with y'all about AI and some of the ethical problems around it, but just don't use it. So, what does that mean in this class? My policy on this is like, don't use it for any of the assignments whatsoever. So that includes all different kinds of AI technologies. And I do include Grammarly in this. So if you've got like that special Grammarly feature, I actually don't want you to use it for this class. If you're using it for other classes, things like that, if you're using it for like emails to me or something, that's fine. But it cannot be used for the homework or class assignments, and it absolutely cannot be used for the major assignments. The way that my policy is that like if you use it for a minor assignment, that will be a 0. Just like if you use it on a homework assignment, point blank, there's going to be no revision. Like I'm just going to give it a 0 because at that point, I don't want to be regrading stuff after AI has been used on it for the first thing. Now, my AI policy on major assignments is probably the most important. The way that my policy is that regardless of how far you are into a major assignment, I don't care if it is just you've only written a thesis with AI or you wrote a full 6 pages, regardless of where you are in that process, if there is AI writing that I identify in that assignment, you will have to select a new topic and start over. I would rather that people not have to do something like that and then give themselves less time to work on their assignment. So just don't do it. That is my AI rant. I really don't hate it, contrary to what this would have you believe, but it's because I have like a true belief in the writing process model. It is research backed. We'll be talking about that over the next few weeks. So please just don't do it. Not for this class. There's stuff here about plagiarism, which is closely related to some of the issues with AI. Don't be like having other people write parts of your papers for you, stuff like that. You need to cite stuff. I have stuff here about like accommodations, if you have like a name or pronouns that are not what's listed in the directory. And this is for all students, by the way. This is not just for like trans or non-binary students. Like any student, if you've got a name like that you would prefer to go by, a nickname, something like that, I'm happy to do that. You can send me an email, let me know. I've got a bunch of campus support resources here. So all of this is available to you. My basic message about this is that you, to me, are people first. Like being a student is not even within the top 10 of things that I think is valuable about the people in this class. And I mean that, right? You are people first, point blank. So if you are having concerns, if there's stuff that you're struggling with, right? I'm not a therapist. Unfortunately, I can't fix things like that, right? And I know that the state of the world can be very chaotic and scary at times. But even though I can't fix everything, do know that like I'm here to direct you to resources and to support you in that way. If you are noticing that you have concerns about a peer, right? It doesn't even have to be yourself, but maybe someone that you're taking another class with, or a dorm mate or something like that. If you have concerns, speak up. Like, you're welcome to let me know. You can have an in-person meeting with me and what have you. So just know that like I'm here to help and to direct you to resources where I can. And then I've got a little note here that just says like, check back on the syllabus every so often. It'll be linked again on the Moodle page, and there will be changes that come there. There will be a course calendar. I'm working on the formatting for that, but I can show you what it will kind of look like. Again, I'm doing my planning right now, just kind of moving and adapting things from previous semesters. But this is kind of like what it will look like for y'all. Things that are marked with an asterisk will be our our asynchronous days. You'll have assignments that are due by the end of that day, so by 11:59 p.m. typically on Moodle. We'll have the kind of general topic that we are working through for that day, and then various in-class activities. So all of that is there for you. Another thing is that for those of you who are not a big fan of like the paper syllabus, I'm working on, or if like Moodle is not always the best thing for you, I'm working on developing a course website. It's not going to have every thing from the Moodle page on it, but I am working on having like another version of the syllabus. This might get broken up across different pages. It's a work in progress, but it again has that kind of table of contents. So if you're thinking back to yourself, oh yeah, what is the policy on attendance? You can find it. So this is very similar to that paper syllabus, but if you just prefer navigating it in this way, that will be available to you. And I'm updating this, and it will be linked at the top of our Moodle page. The other things that are going to be kind of relevant to you in terms of tech, there is a class Google Drive. You will all have a folder in here that you will be working on setting up over the course of the semester. And this will be like the place where you're putting all of your major and minor assignments and things like that. It's very helpful for making sure that we can all easily access each other's work and provide peer feedback. And finally, we are using Perusall for this class. So if you have not used it before, basically this is what's called like a shared or collaborative annotation software. So the way it works is you're going to be assigned readings over the course of the semester. And each of those readings will have like prompts that I want you to respond to. So one of your early assignments this semester will be like to do a tutorial on how to use Perusall. And so what you'll be able to do is highlight things and then respond to it. So you can say, this is a comment, and then submit it. And the nice thing is that once all of your peers respond to the text, you can go to different comments. You can reply to them. And things like that. And so this is a way that we'll be interacting with each other over the course of the semester. If somebody has a question that you think is a really great question and you want to know the answer as well, you can upvote it. If somebody says something that you like, you can say, I agree with this. I'll be able to see your conversation. So this is a platform that we'll be using to kind of engage some of the written material that we're working with over the course of the semester. So that is kind of, I know it's a lot of technical information. I'm going to have to edit this to parse it down a little bit, but that's kind of like the main things. You can see like your assignment submission links. I'll be adding lots more. I still got to put like my contact info and stuff. But this is how you're going to be kind of working through all of our materials over the course of the semester. And so your writing assignment for tonight, the directions are already there. You're going to be wanting to submit this by the end of the day. And so what you're going to do is you're going to create a Google Doc where you respond to these questions. And when you do so, make sure that I have edit access to your doc. A guaranteed way to make sure I will have edit access is to put the document in the class Google Drive folder that has your name on it. That will guarantee that I have edit access. And please hyperlink the document. So what does it look like to hyperlink that document if I'm trying to submit it, right? Please do this. Please. I hate copying and pasting 20 links. This is not hyperlinked. It is a link, but it is not hyperlinked. A hyperlink is a very specific thing. You need to click link. You need to paste the link again and open it in a new window. Make sure you do that, okay? And then you're able to submit it from there. So that's your assignment for today. Oh, I think I posted this twice in there. Whoops. I'll fix that. If you ever see stuff like that, feel free to email me and let me know. I try to be good about the Moodle page, but sometimes I miss stuff. So that is kind of like the overall introduction. Again, apologies that this is like so boring. It really is. Like the first day of the semester, it's like just policy, policy, policy. It will be hopefully a lot more fun from this point on. But if you have any questions about these materials and things like that, just let me know. I'm going to be working on filming some like additional just like tutorial videos if you have questions about how to do this stuff. But yeah, that's kind of like the overall introduction. So I'm really looking forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. I love English 101. I truly do. It's just such a fun class, and I'm really excited to get to learn more about y'all and your interests. So I will see you then. If you have any questions, just let me know. And otherwise, yeah, I'll meet y'all soon.